the tranquil embrace of a forest, where sunlight filtered through the canopy of trees and birdsong filled the air, there lived a young woman named Maya. Maya was a beacon of resilience, her spirit unyielding against life's trials and tribulations. Growing up in the heart of nature, Maya cultivated a deep connection with the earth and all its wonders. From a tender age, she harbored a dream of becoming a herbalist, harnessing the healing power of plants to ease the suffering of others. But the path to realizing her dream was fraught with challenges. Maya's family, simple villagers living on the outskirts of the forest, struggled to make ends meet. They lacked the means to send Maya to school or provide her with formal training in herbalism. Undeterred, Maya turned to the forest itself as her teacher, studying the plants and their properties with a keen eye and a thirst for knowledge. Armed with determination and a steadfast belief in herself, Maya embarked on a journey of self-discovery and learning. She spent hours each day exploring the forest, gathering herbs and experimenting with different remedies and potions. With each passing day, her knowledge and skills grew, and her dream of becoming a herbalist burned ever brighter in her heart. But just as Maya was on the cusp of realizing her dream, tragedy struck her family. A devastating illness swept through the village, leaving death and despair in its wake. Maya's own parents fell victim to the sickness, leaving her orphaned and alone in the world. In the depths of her grief, Maya was tempted to abandon her dreams and succumb to despair. But she knew that her parents would have wanted her to carry on, to honor their memory by fulfilling her destiny. With renewed determination, Maya vowed to become the herbalist she had always dreamed of being, using her knowledge and skills to heal the sick and alleviate suffering wherever she went. And so, with a heart full of hope and a spirit that refused to be broken, Maya set out into the world, ready to embrace whatever challenges and opportunities lay ahead on her journey of self-discovery and healing. As Maya traveled from village to village, she encountered people from all walks of life, each with their own struggles and hardships. She offered her services freely, tending to the sick and injured with compassion and skill. Word of Maya's healing abilities spread far and wide, and soon, people traveled from distant lands to seek her aid. But Maya's journey was not without its challenges. Along the way, she faced skepticism and mistrust from those who doubted her abilities or feared the unknown. She encountered charlatans and imposters who sought to exploit the vulnerable for their own gain. And she grappled with her own doubts and insecurities, wondering if she was truly worthy of the gift she had been given. Yet, through it all, Maya remained steadfast in her mission. She drew strength from the smiles of those she had helped, the gratitude in their eyes, and the knowledge that she was making a difference in the world. And as she continued on her journey, Maya found that her own wounds began to heal as well, replaced by a sense of purpose and fulfillment that she had never known before. As the years passed, Maya's reputation as a healer grew, and her name became synonymous with compassion and healing. She established clinics and dispensaries in villages far and wide, providing access to health care for those who had none. And she trained a new generation of herbalists, passing on her knowledge and skills so that others could continue her work long after she was gone. But amidst the acclaim and adulation, Maya remained humble and grounded, never forgetting the lessons she had learned along the way. She knew that true healing went beyond the physical, encompassing the mind, body, and spirit as a whole. And she vowed to continue her journey, spreading love and healing wherever she went, for as long as she lived. And so, as Maya's story continues, she traverses the world, a beacon of hope and healing in a world filled with darkness and despair. And though the road ahead may be long and fraught with challenges, Maya knows that as long as she refuses to give up, there is nothing she cannot overcome. As Maya journeyed onward, she encountered a diverse array of people and places, each presenting new opportunities for growth and learning. Alongside her healing work, she discovered a passion for environmental conservation, recognizing the interconnectedness between human health and the well-being of the natural world. In her travels, Maya witnessed firsthand the devastating impact of deforestation, pollution, and climate change on communities and ecosystems alike. She saw how environmental degradation exacerbated health problems and threatened the livelihoods of those who depended on the land for sustenance. Driven by her deep reverence for nature and her commitment to healing, Maya resolved to take action to protect the environment and promote sustainable practices. She worked with local communities to plant trees, restore degraded habitats, and implement conservation projects that benefited both people and the planet. Maya also used her platform as a healer to raise awareness about the importance of environmental stewardship and the links between human health and environmental health. She educated her patients and followers about the benefits of living in harmony with nature and the ways in which they could reduce their ecological footprint. But Maya's advocacy did not come without its challenges. She faced resistance from those who prioritized short-term economic gains over long-term sustainability, and she encountered skepticism from those who doubted the urgency of addressing environmental issues. Yet Maya refused to be deterred. With unwavering determination and a steadfast belief in the power of collective action, she continued to press forward, rallying support for her cause and inspiring others to join her in the fight for a healthier, more sustainable world. As Maya's influence grew, so too did her impact. She partnered with organizations and governments to implement large-scale conservation initiatives, and she collaborated with scientists and experts to develop innovative solutions to pressing environmental challenges. And through it all, Maya remained true to herself and her values, never losing sight of the interconnectedness of all living things and the importance of preserving the natural world for future generations. As Maya's journey continues, she knows that there will be many more challenges and obstacles to overcome. But she also knows that with courage, compassion, and a steadfast commitment to her beliefs, she can continue to make a meaningful difference in the world, one healing touch and one conservation effort at a time. As Maya's journey unfolded, she found herself facing a new set of challenges that tested her resolve and expanded her horizons. Alongside her environmental advocacy and healing work, Maya felt a growing desire to address the underlying social and economic inequalities that perpetuated suffering and injustice in the world. Driven by a deep sense of empathy and a commitment to justice, Maya sought out ways to uplift marginalized communities and empower individuals to break free from the cycle of poverty and oppression. She worked tirelessly to address issues such as access to education, healthcare, and economic opportunity, recognizing that these were fundamental rights that should be available to all. Maya collaborated with local leaders and grassroots organizations to develop programs and initiatives that addressed the specific needs of each community she encountered. From establishing vocational training centers to providing microloans for small businesses, Maya sought to create pathways to economic independence and self-sufficiency for those who had been marginalized and excluded. But Maya's efforts were met with resistance from entrenched power structures and systemic barriers that perpetuated inequality and injustice. She encountered bureaucratic red tape, corruption, and indifference from those who wielded power and privilege, making it difficult to effect meaningful change. Yet Maya refused to give up. With a tenacity born of her own experiences overcoming adversity, she continued to push forward, finding creative ways to circumvent obstacles and build alliances with like-minded individuals and organizations. Alongside her work on the ground, Maya used her platform and influence to advocate for systemic change at the national and international levels. She spoke out against policies and practices that perpetuated inequality and discrimination, and she called on leaders to prioritize the needs of the most vulnerable and marginalized members of society. And though the road ahead was long and fraught with challenges, Maya knew that she was not alone in her struggle. She drew strength from the resilience and courage of the communities she served, and she found inspiration in the countless individuals who refused to be silenced or sidelined in the face of injustice. As Maya's journey continued, she remained committed to her vision of a world where all people could live with dignity, equality, and respect. And though the path forward was uncertain, Maya faced the future with a heart full of hope and a spirit that refused to be dimmed, knowing that as long as she continued to fight for what was right, she could help create a better world for all. As Maya continued her tireless efforts to address social and economic inequalities, she found herself drawn to a new challenge: advocating for the rights and well-being of marginalized groups, including women, children, and ethnic minorities. Driven by her own experiences of discrimination and oppression, Maya felt a deep sense of solidarity with those who faced systemic barriers to their full participation in society. She recognized that gender-based violence, child labor, and racial discrimination were not only violations of human rights but also barriers to social progress and development. With a fierce determination to make a difference, Maya immersed herself in advocacy work, raising awareness about the issues affecting marginalized communities and fighting for policies and programs that promoted equality and inclusion. She worked closely with grassroots organizations and community leaders to develop initiatives that addressed the unique needs of each group she sought to support. From providing legal aid to victims of gender-based violence to advocating for inclusive education policies for children from minority backgrounds, Maya sought to create a more just and equitable society for all. But Maya's advocacy work brought her face to face with entrenched attitudes and cultural norms that perpetuated discrimination and exclusion. She encountered resistance from those who clung to outdated beliefs and prejudices, and she faced backlash from those who saw her efforts as a threat to their power and privilege. Yet Maya refused to be deterred. With unwavering resolve and a steadfast belief in the inherent dignity and worth of every individual, she continued to push forward, finding strength in the voices of those she fought for and the support of her allies and colleagues. And as Maya's influence grew, so too did her impact. She succeeded in securing legal protections for marginalized groups, advocating for the enforcement of existing laws and the implementation of new policies that promoted equality and inclusion. But Maya knew that true change could only come from within. She worked tirelessly to challenge stereotypes and prejudices, promoting dialogue and understanding among diverse communities and fostering a culture of respect and acceptance. As Maya's journey continued, she remained committed to her vision of a world where every person, regardless of their background or circumstances, could live with dignity, equality, and justice. And though the road ahead was long and challenging, Maya faced the future with a sense of optimism and determination, knowing that as long as she refused to give up, she could help create a better world for generations to come. As Maya continued her advocacy work, she encountered a new opportunity that would allow her to amplify her impact on a global scale. She was invited to participate in international conferences and forums focused on human rights and social justice, where she could share her experiences and expertise with a wider audience and advocate for change on a global level. Embracing the opportunity with open arms, Maya traveled to different countries, collaborating with activists, policymakers, and organizations from around the world. She shared stories of resilience and hope from her own community, shedding light on the struggles and triumphs of marginalized groups and underserved communities. Through her advocacy, Maya helped elevate the voices of those who had long been silenced or ignored, shining a spotlight on issues such as gender equality, access to education, and the rights of indigenous peoples. She urged world leaders to take meaningful action to address these issues and create a more just and equitable world for all. But Maya's journey on the global stage was not without its challenges. She encountered skepticism and resistance from those who were resistant to change, and she faced backlash from those who sought to maintain the status quo. Yet Maya remained undeterred, drawing strength from the support of her fellow activists and the knowledge that she was fighting for a cause greater than herself. As Maya continued to advocate for change on the global stage, she found herself inspired by the resilience and determination of the individuals and communities she encountered. She saw how their stories of courage and perseverance transcended borders and united people from all walks of life in a common quest for justice and equality. And as Maya's influence grew, so too did her determination to create lasting change. She worked tirelessly to build coalitions and alliances, forging partnerships with organizations and governments to advance the cause of human rights and social justice around the world. As Maya's journey on the global stage continued, she knew that there would be many more challenges and obstacles to overcome. But she also knew that as long as she remained true to her values and continued to fight for what was right, she could help create a brighter future for generations to come. And so, with a heart full of hope and a spirit that refused to be dimmed, Maya marched forward, ready to embrace whatever challenges and opportunities lay ahead on her journey of advocacy and activism. As Maya continued her advocacy on the global stage, she found herself increasingly drawn to the intersection of social justice and environmental sustainability. Recognizing the interconnectedness of these issues, she became a leading voice in the fight for environmental justice, advocating for policies and practices that prioritized the needs of marginalized communities and protected the planet for future generations. Maya worked tirelessly to raise awareness about the disproportionate impact of environmental degradation on vulnerable populations, including indigenous peoples, low-income communities, and people of color. She highlighted the ways in which environmental injustices, such as pollution, deforestation, and climate change, exacerbated existing inequalities and perpetuated cycles of poverty and marginalization. Drawing on her experiences as a healer and advocate, Maya called for a holistic approach to environmental protection that centered on the needs and rights of frontline communities. She championed initiatives that promoted sustainable development, renewable energy, and conservation efforts while ensuring that they were inclusive and equitable for all. But Maya's advocacy did not stop there. She also fought against the exploitation of natural resources and the displacement of indigenous peoples from their ancestral lands, advocating for the recognition of their rights and the preservation of their cultures and traditions. As Maya's influence grew, so too did her impact on the global stage. She collaborated with international organizations and governments to develop policies and programs that addressed the root causes of environmental injustice and promoted sustainable solutions that benefited both people and the planet. Yet Maya knew that the fight for environmental justice was far from over. She continued to confront powerful interests and vested industries that prioritized profit over people and the planet, advocating for transformative change that put the well-being of communities and ecosystems first. But Maya remained undeterred. With unwavering determination and a steadfast commitment to her values, she continued to march forward, knowing that the future of humanity and the planet depended on the actions we took today. And as long as she refused to give up, Maya believed that together, we could create a world where all people could live with dignity, equality, and respect, and where the earth itself could thrive for generations to come.